go. There we go. We're officially live
Here
again.
we go. Okay, I'm gonna join the
I
Discord.
thought Allison was gonna, you threw a curveball at me right before, like
Uh,
20 seconds before we go live. You're like, maybe, I don't know about these headphones. They might die before we finish this recording. It's like, oh wow, thanks for telling me that right now. I appreciate it.
don't worry, it's fine. It'll be good.
Yeah,
Okay,
no one's gonna notice at all.
I have QuickTime done recording.
Look at that.
I'm in Discord.
All right, I'm recording in QuickTime. I'm in Discord. We're live on YouTube. I think we got everything going. We were a little too prepared. I don't know. That doesn't feel natural for us. Like we must have forgotten something because normally we're not this prepared by the time we start recording. That never happens.
Well, I did forget something. I just texted Matt and asked him to bring me a glass of wine. Because I'm done with my coffee.
I know. Yeah, make sure you don't mix water in there. We don't want you to be hydrated.
I have a little bit of water.
Okay, how much of that water have you had today? That's been an ongoing debate.
You are going to be so proud of me, Chris.
I probably won't be.
I've had one full one of these. And then I've had this much of this one today. That's a record. Oh, Matt's going upstairs. That's not where we keep the wine. I think he checked his text messages.
It's like, look, if you wanted wine, you should have asked before you started going live, okay?
I know.
Oh, yeah, let me post it on there. So I'm going to just let everyone know that we went live. I posted this video. Here we go. I opened up Instagram and I see Oprah immediately.
Oh, Oprah.
I was like, Oprah, I told you I'll message you after we're done. I'm going live right now. It's okay.
I love Oprah.
All right. So today, Allison, you don't know what we're talking about today, do you?
I have no idea. I have absolutely no clue what we're talking about today. I'm just going along for the ride here.
Give everyone a little preview. It's about, I almost mixed it up with last week's episode. I found this one online. It's about a sister and a sister-in-law who one of them always happens to forgets their wallet whenever they go out to eat. And they like to eat expensive food. And I saw this immediately and I was like, we need to talk about this. This 100% has to happen.
But you know what we need to do before we talk about it?
Uh-oh, what is that?
Do our clap.
Okay. All right. I'll let everyone know. Join us live on YouTube for This Is Awkward. Got it. I probably should do this beforehand.
Beth Ann.
What happened with Beth Ann?
Ordered some of my shoes. Did you see that? She says that she's ordered 8 pairs of sneakers in the last 2 weeks and has returned all of them.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you do that? Because I've done that before where, like, for shoes specifically, where I order, like, a bunch of pair. Because you can't, it's online. You don't know if they're going to fit. And you just try them all on, and then you decide which ones you're going to keep. Have you ever done that?
So I have issues doing that, and here's why.
Please tell me why.
I have been known to buy things and be like, oh, I'm going to try it on, and if it doesn't fit, I'll return it. And then I just never return it. And then I just have things that are brand new. So I had a shirt that I bought online that from Old Navy that sat on my counter, my like dresser, for me to return for at least a full 9 months once. And I brought it back. Mind you, I've gone to Old Navy and just forgotten to bring it back. I finally remember and bring it back to Old Navy. I have the and they were like, "Oh, we'll give you 98 cents." I was like, "Never mind, I'll donate it." So
it's too big of a threat for you to do that then.
Yes, so that's very that would be dangerous for me.
See, for me, for the most part, I say that as there's something I have to return that's sitting over here in the corner, but I like that because I don't want to go into stores. And so just send me a bunch of stuff. I'll try it on and then I'll make my way to the post office or I'll even go back to the store just for a return, but I don't want to walk around. Okay. I don't want to be looking around, having to go through aisles of clothes. No, I don't want that. That's not something that's not my love language in store shopping. Yeah.
Now I will do it with Amazon because I can go to the UPS store right down by my street. And that's also where my business address is, my PO box. It's not a PO box, but it's a UPS box. So I'll be like, oh, but I'm also being productive because I'm checking my mail. But I always get the woman who had the box before me's mail, so I don't ever get anything.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's fine. You're right. It is a loss because I didn't get anything. But by the way, Scroggy Mama's watching us on the big TV. You see that? I saw that.
Discord? Oh, I can put that up there. Hold on. Wait, let's see Discord. Hopefully this thing still works and it's not showing. There we go. Look at that.
Oh, Scroggy Mama.
Look at that. I purposely dabbed the sweat off my head for you, Scroggy, so that way it wouldn't be too
So
shiny. I didn't want to
shiny.
blind you on your TV screen as you're watching. So
Oh my
my
gosh.
courtesy to all of you is that I de-shined my forehead before I've done this live. Okay, I got everything.
Okay.
I got it all up there, Allison. I've let everyone know online. We're going live, so we're good to go. You ready to do the clap?
Okay, yeah. Everyone get your claps ready.
All right.
Okay, Chris,
Ready?
take us away.
1, 2, 3, clap. Got it.
Her daughter is laughing. Gotta keep this PG today.
All right. So I think I have awkward story duties, don't I?
You do. Let's do this. Are you recording on QuickTime, Chris?
I'm recording everywhere. Got
Okay,
multiple
good.
recordings going. Okay. So this story came to me courtesy of Logan, who I've mentioned multiple times on this podcast because he's always joining us live. He reminded me that when I was younger, I was a horrible student. Like high school, middle school, horrible student. Like I just hated doing homework. I never did homework. I was like, look, I'll sit there and I'll listen in class. I'll figure out enough to pass the test. And that's good enough because when I go home, that's my time. It's not time for homework. I did my time at school. I'm not bringing this home with me. You got to have separation, work-life balance. So I remember my mom, she has no problem shaming me in front of everybody. She took my report card, which was horrible, and pinned it up with a magnet on the water heater that we had in the garage. And that's where me and my friends always hung out. And she made sure to point at that report card and tell everyone how bad my grades were. Hey, this is Chris.
And this is Allison, and you're listening to This Is Awkward. And Mama Browning, I just feel like that would be like a really good example that we'd have nowadays in a parenting book of like how not to cause like emotional trauma to your child or belittle them. Like
She put it up right. I don't know how bad the grades were. I know they were bad. I don't know how bad they were, but they were front and center. I think I did have one good grade in there. I don't know what subject it was, but she was like, "Look at this. They can see how bad you did."
That's like shameful. I can't believe she did that.
And let me tell.
Sorry, Chris.
Let me tell you, Allison. After that super embarrassing moment, like after dealing with that, I'll let you know that I did not become a better student. It was bad for the rest of high school.
So, see, it didn't even work.
It did not
Let the
work.
record show that shaming people does not change them.
No. And so I remember
not Chris Browning.
No, it doesn't work on me. I'm immune to it. But I remember I went into college as a bad student, still bad habits, but with way more freedom. So my first semester was horrible. I got put on academic probation because my grades were so bad my first semester. And I think if you do 2 semesters in a row of academic probation, they're just going to kick you out. And so I was like, that was the kick I needed. The kick, not out, but just say, hey, just let you know we're about to kick you out. That changed everything. And I became a great student after that. I got like a 4.0 like the next year because I was so scared. I was like, you know what? I am messing up and I probably should do well since this is costing money and, I would like to graduate. So that's what turned my life around.
So it took you until you were like 19 years old to really mature yourself and realize that you could do what you were actually capable of doing, but too lazy to do before.
I guess so. If they're going to make me do homework, I guess I'll do it. So, hey, it is
Chris
what it is.
Browning just wrapped up in a story,
Lazy from birth. That's me.
Oh, but I'm sorry she did that to you. I know you would never do that to your niece.
Never.
And I want to know, in that moment, were you embarrassed or were you just like, were you mad? Like, what was your reaction?
I was annoyed, but I was not embarrassed because all my other friends were bad in school too. Logan reminded me of this.
You surrounded yourself with
you surround
people.
You surround yourself with the people you want to be like. And I remember Logan, as he was like bringing the story back up to me, that I completely forgot about. He was like, I wanted to laugh, but I knew my grades weren't better, so I just was like, oh, okay.
Oh my gosh. So you were annoyed. You weren't embarrassed. It didn't like fix you.
No, not at all.
It just made your relationship with your mom just probably more strained.
We don't have time in this podcast to get deeper into that situation. But
you're right. But we don't want to get into our own awkward issues that we need to work through. We just want to talk about yours, which is why we're here today. We want to help you through your own awkward situations, help navigate them without losing your friends and family along the way.
And you know, we share our awkward stories up front just to be transparent. If we're going to ask you to send in your awkward stories, we have to be willing to be open and share some of the crazy stuff that's going on in our lives. So if you want to be a part of the show, now that you've heard about how horrible of a student I was in high school, you can give us a call at, well, I have a little animation thing here.
Oh, here 707
200 8259. Or if you're like, you know what, I don't like making phone calls, please don't make me record my voice. You can also go to our website. It's awkwardpodcast.com, and you can write it out there if you want to, and check out some of the past episodes while you're looking.
Yes. And before we talk about like the favorite part of our podcast, I just want to get a really big shout out to Logan, who's always there to remind you, Chris, of situations in your childhood and your teenage years that you have purposefully blocked out. I love that he can help just like unsurface those and allow us to talk about them on the show, because that's truly what friendship is all about.
That's what it's all about.
Which brings us to our Patreon.
Yes, it does. So
that sounded so fake.
I don't know what that transition. I don't know what the I was like, what are we transitioning to? You didn't really set me up with a segue, so I was kind of trying to laugh to help myself get over there to the button.
So fake.
I was like,
oh my gosh. If you're ever in a conversation with Chris and he laughs at you like that, he does not think you're funny. He's just trying to make it not awkward.
And let me tell you, I laugh at Allison like that all the time.
No, you don't. Oh gosh.
So go ahead. I don't even know. Go ahead. You take your segue and bring us into the Patreon talk here.
Yes. We have a Patreon, in case you didn't know, where we actually have bonus episodes. We put out at least 2 bonus episodes a month. So whenever we only put out 2 regular episodes a month, you actually get episodes on the off weeks where everyone else doesn't get anything. We have a private Discord where we can chat with people. We even have, we give our patrons the opportunity to kind of give us ideas on what they want us to talk about in our bonus episodes, which we're doing tonight.
That's right.
So be sure to check it out. You can learn more by going to patreon.com/This Is Awkward Podcast, or just click the link in our show notes.
That's all you got to do. And today, we're jumping into a story that I found
Good segue.
Thank you. We're jumping into a story that I found about how do you handle we'll call him a family member who wants to go out and do things that cost money, but they never are willing to pay for it in any way whatsoever. So I saw this. I was like, I definitely want us to chat about this one today.
Yeah, we're going to get into that right after this super fast, super quick break.
Bam. This is the break right here.
This is where the break goes.
Oh, man.
Do you want me to read this one?
Yeah, you want to? It's a long one. It's a much longer one than normal.
Okay.
And thanks to everyone who's joining us. I know we've switched up the times. We're going a little bit later in the evening now. Hopefully it's better for your schedules. Allison has so much more energy this time around. The last time we recorded at night, Allison was just, there we go. She's caffeinated up.
Still don't have my wine that I asked for.
I'm so sorry. Would you like me to DoorDash some wine to you?
I would actually really appreciate that. Thanks. So generous.
Can you DoorDash a glass of wine? Can you just get like a single glass of wine sent to someone?
I think that's probably like, I would be really worried that it would be like roofied.
Yeah,
like if someone like
true.
DoorDashed me an open like container of liquid, I would be like, no thanks.
But people get like sodas and stuff DoorDash all the time, like their meal. I never like doing that.
That's true. I guess I don't know. It just feels weird. I'll just continue to text him. Oh, he's coming down the stairs. He's smiling.
Does he have wine in his hand, or is he just walking?
He's just walking. Oh, side note, quick story. I don't know what this means about me. I drink wine maybe like usually on the weekends only, like maybe like a Friday and a Saturday night. Well, we went to the park yesterday. This is a bonus story for anyone who's catching this live. Whoever's editing this can cut this part out. But I went to the park the other day, and
with a brown paper
there were
bag.
all these moms there, and a dog knocked over someone's can of like sparkling water, and Evan goes, "Oh my gosh, he knocked over your wine." And my friend was like, it was like 3:00 in the afternoon. And he was like, she was like, "That's not wine." Oh, thanks. Wait, come here. You gotta show him. This is parenting 101. My son just dropped the wine. Take that out of your mouth. That's gross. Okay. Okay, bye. Love you. Anyway, close the door, please.
Give me my wine and get out of my room.
Anyway, go ahead and bring us back, Chris.
Yeah, how about do you want me to read the story while you're hydrating?
No, you don't like chug it. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Bring us back.
Well, Allison, now we're back from that break, that extremely long break that everyone sat through. How about you read today's awkward story?
Yes, I will. Let me just make my font bigger. You know me.
You
Okay,
you,
here we go.
you just need to have your font permanently enlarged on all devices.
Oh, then it's no, that's no, because then I have to scroll too much. Okay, so I have not read this through, so I'm gonna kind of just read it, and I might be reacting along the way. Okay, I'm 28, and my 26-year-old sister-in-law always comes to visit from out of town. She stays with us instead of a hotel, and always wants to go to expensive restaurants. She always conveniently forgets her wallet or comes up with some excuses as to why she can't pay her share. She has implied that since I make much more money than her, I should be the one to pay. No, not my husband should pay, but me specifically. I do make a fair amount of money, but not so much that I can treat someone every time they come into town. Nonetheless, in the past, I have just paid the bill and asked her to pay me back. She never has. She has made a reservation at an extremely expensive restaurant last night, and before we left, I made it clear that I wouldn't be paying her bill. As we were leaving, her and my husband went to the car. I pretended I forgot something and went back inside. I found her wallet sitting right on top of her suitcase. I put it in my purse and we went to the restaurant. When we were done eating, I asked for separate bills. She said, "No, we need one bill," because she forgot her wallet again. I reached in my purse and said, "This wallet?" She was extremely furious. She said that I should not have touched or grabbed her wallet. So am I wrong for taking her wallet and bringing it to the restaurant?
Do you see why I love this story so much?
Oh, I'm so happy I didn't read that beforehand, because let me tell you, I was like, oh, okay, we just have like someone, but no,
It's a roller coaster.
Sister has some guts. Like, can you imagine her sitting there all dinner long waiting when the check comes? I'm going to pull out your wallet. I'm going to show you.
Oh, I would be, if I was the person who wrote this, I would be so excited for that reveal. Like to be like,
Oh,
you
yeah.
mean this wallet? I would slowly pull it out.
Yes. Everyone else sitting nearby, everyone turns and gasps. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Let me just say that, like, this is amazing. She is who I want to be.
Right?
She is who I would be, like, in my dream world where I could confront anyone and be like super awesome, like badass bitch. I don't know. Just like this is who I want to be her when I grow up. But then it's like she took passive aggressive and she was just like aggressive back to it.
She didn't like, beat around the bush. She wasn't like, real sly about it. She was like, look, this is your wallet and you're going to help pay for this. But I don't know. It's so weird that not only, because one, this is her husband's sister. So, it's not her sister, it's her husband's sister. But the sister-in-law is picking these expensive places knowing that she's not going to like pay it. She's going to, forget her wallet every time. And I don't know. That is frustrating. I feel the writer's frustration in this and I understand why she resorted to this. I don't know if I'd be brave enough to do that, but I understand the frustration that led to this situation.
I'm personally so happy it got to the point where she did this because, I mean, hey, do you think that the sister-in-law would do this again? Do you think that she would try this? Okay, because, I mean, if you think about it, we talk a lot about boundaries here on this show. The woman who is the one who ends up paying for everything, she has made it clear. She has set boundaries. She said in this story, what did she say? She says, I have told her. And she said, I made it very clear that I wouldn't be paying her bill. She has told her in the past. And yeah, she says she's asked to be paid back. She's not getting paid back. She set very clear boundaries. And she, unfortunately assumed correctly that the sister-in-law would still try to dodge these boundaries she set. So she took boundary setting to a whole new level. And all I have to say is bravo.
Honestly, I would never go to dinner with this person again. Like, I get that it's the sister-in-law, But I
Mm,
wouldn't even put myself in this position again. I would talk to my wife and be like, look, every time we go out, they always somehow magically forget their wallet, and I'm tired of it. So if you two would like to go to dinner,
yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you not to go to dinner with your sibling. Obviously you do whatever you want to do, but
Yeah.
it's just frustrating me too much. I can't take it because I'm like, look, we're gonna be eating DiGiorno's at home, or you're going to go to dinner by yourself. But I'm not, especially if she's pick. The thing that really bugs me about this one, she's picking expensive places to eat. It's not like she's like,
Mhm.
hey, let's go out to Olive Garden tonight. I was like, you know what? Well, fine, I could pay for an extra person at Olive Garden. But if we're paying for like $80 plates or something, like
Yeah.
no, no, I'm not. I don't want to keep doing that over and over again.
That's true. So I guess do you think then that she should have just avoided this and set that boundary sooner and just said, "Okay, I'm not going to do that,"
Mm.
or do you think that like what she did by pulling out the wallet, like secretly taking, I mean, imagine like she went into the room where she was staying,
Yeah,
found the wallet, hid it in her purse, didn't like say like, oh, I stumbled upon this and give it to her in the car.
exactly.
Waited all dinner long to whip out this wallet last minute, right? Like that. I mean, there's obviously some passive aggressiveness there, I guess. But
Yeah.
do you think that it should have even gone to that, like that far? Do you think she should have set boundaries of like, we're not going out to dinner with your sister anymore sooner?
I mean, look, this makes for an amazing story. Like, this story is hilarious, and I wish I could witness it. But also, it's probably not the most healthy way to handle this because clearly it just caused more conflict, right? Like, I'm sure because she said that the sister in law wasn't happy, right? She was not happy by this. She was really
I
angry.
don't know.
She
I
said
was too excited about it.
she said she
Oh,
was
she said
extremely furious.
extremely furious. I would
So
say that's not happy.
yeah, and I mean, she did go into this person's personal belongings and take something that was theirs and bring it to with her to the restaurant. Like, yeah, so like, no, it was not the most mature thing to do, and you probably like she did communicate. She's been communicating to this person, but I think you have to then the next step is like, look, I'm not gonna put myself in this situation because clearly you're not mature enough to listen to
Mhm.
what I'm asking of you. Like that's it. This is my boundary, and you're still stepping over it every single time. I think at that point I would just be like, I'm not going to dinner with this person. Like
Yeah.
this is
I
we're
can
not doing
I
this.
can see that. I
Like we
can
got
see that.
I get a
But
crock pot. I'm gonna
instead,
throw some stuff in there,
yeah.
throw a bunch of stuff in there, and turn it on.
Froggy Mama said, "Heck no, we're going grocery shopping at Aldi during her visit."
Exactly. That's what's
I
happening. Like
love it.
we're eating food at the house. Like we got food at the house. That's every time they come over, we have food at the house. We don't need to go
Yeah,
anywhere. You're welcome to.
I can totally see that. That's
Yeah.
true. I mean, I can see that, and maybe that's what she'll do from now on. But honestly, after this encounter, maybe sister-in-law won't want to come back. I mean, that's also like a possibility,
Yeah. I
you
mean, I
know?
think that may be one of the like part of me is like it may be a benefit that like she may not want to come over anymore, but that's not the way you want to handle this, right? Like you don't want to fix the situation because you just made it so awkward for everyone and infuriated this person so much that they
That's
don't want to
true.
go to dinner with you. That's not the healthy way to go about dealing with like your issues with the way they basically treat you as if you just made a free money for them.
Yeah, that's true. I can see that. I can see that. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's I don't know. I mean, obviously, like they don't have a great like relationship in general. I guess
Yeah.
if she's not like respecting that boundary, but it just makes me wonder. Like, have you ever had a boundary that was not respected to the point where you were just like, no, I need to like create like so much space to keep something
Ooh,
like this from happening again?
that's a good question.
Oh,
I'm thinking.
Froggy Mama
Oh, what?
just said, "I would leave my wallet at home too." But
So
then what happens?
you're all gonna be washing dishes.
I know, right? Is that really what happens? Like, what happens if you go and you don't dine and dash, but you forget your wallet? I guess with like Apple Pay and all these things.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot different
Uh,
now. I've never okay. I know you asked me a question, and I'm sorry to reply to your question with another question. But since they're talking about this
okay.
in the Discord, have you ever been in a restaurant and not had money to pay? Has that ever happened to you? I've never had that happen to
Um,
me.
no, I haven't ever had that happen to me. I have been somewhere where the thing that's freaked me out the most is we went on a camping trip and I usually like if we go on a place as a family, I usually don't bring my wallet because I'm not the one who drives. My husband has, a credit card, a debit card. I don't worry about it.
Hmm.
At the very last second, I grabbed my wallet. We went on this trip. It's like 5 hours away. One of the days, his wallet, he loses it.
Oh no,
And I'm
that's my
like, I am so
biggest fear.
glad. Yeah, I'm so glad I had my wallet because we had to like fill a vehicle up with gas and stuff to get, like, we wouldn't have been able to get home. I'm like, what would we have done? I mean, I guess, I don't know. Can you go to an ATM with just your phone? I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know if you could, but yeah, okay, yeah. So hey, that's. I feel like now there's more options, but that's still pretty scary because at least you could probably go get gas with your phone still, if you needed to.
Can you?
Yeah, like you can at the pump. Like this, when I go to the pump, I always use my watch. Just go boop, pop it up there, and buy
Really?
gas. Yeah,
So I'm
I live in the year
super spoiled.
2022.
Okay, so I'm super spoiled and I don't ever put gas in my car. Matt does it for me.
Okay, so
That's one of his things that he like tries to do to be a nice husband. Of course, I don't drive. I haven't driven in like 5 days because I ride my bike to take my kids to school and pick them up. So I don't actually drive either, but he always fills up my car when I need it.
well, that's nice. Tell Matt to come by over here and fill up my car, especially with these gas prices. He can pay
I
for
was
it
like,
too.
I don't think he's gonna like that. He's not gonna be happy to do that for you. Not in California.
I'm curious though, if anyone's listening, since neither one of us have had an experience with that, have any of you been to a restaurant and not had the money to pay for it? Because I really want to know how that you deal with that. But sorry, I ignored your
Wasn't it
first
like
question.
on The Office? Didn't Michael Scott do that?
Did
And
he?
he gave him his shoes. Remember, and Holly went to find him, and he went and he sat down and he ate at this like Chinese restaurant or Vietnamese restaurant, and then he got his picture put on the wall,
I
and
don't remember this.
Holly was finding him with Jim and Pam, and he didn't have a cell phone, and she like tracked him just because she thought like him.
Oh, this must. I'm in season 7 right now. I'm doing a rewatch.
You've never watched it?
No, I've watched The
No.
Office like 4 or 5 times
Okay.
through, but I don't
Okay.
remember that happening. So I think I'm getting close to it though. I think it's like towards the end of season 7. That sounds like.
Okay. Well, anyway, I think he gave him like his shoes. Like, give me your shoe. I mean, what do you do with that? But I don't know.
Have any of you bartered for food with your shoes? Let us know at a restaurant. But I don't think I've ever had a situation though, like your first question about if I've ever had to set strong boundaries with someone who was continually crossing those boundaries for me. I'm trying to think if I have a situation that came up like that. I don't think. I think the closest I can think of it is with my mom again was setting the boundary of,
Mama Browning.
stop asking me when I'm going to have kids. I think that was like one of the things I had to be like firm, like, look, I understand you want a grandkid, but I really would appreciate it if you would stop asking me about this. I think that's probably one of the only times I can think of where I had to set a firm boundary where, it was like every time I saw her, she was like, so what do you think about giving me some grandkids? I was like, calm down.
Is she worried about your clock ticking?
I don't know. I was like, look, it's really inappropriate for you to ask us if we had sex recently. Okay, so could you please stop doing that?
I'm pretty sure Scroggy Mama's daughter is listening to this
I'm
right
sorry.
now. Projected on the family TV screen.
I know, right? Oh yeah. Anyways, Allison, what were we gonna say next?
I was gonna say that we've had this happen, not this type of situation, but where you have to set clear boundaries with family. We have had like things like this happen, but it was always just like the first time we mentioned it, it was very much respected. But my husband is I don't know, he is very firm in the boundaries that he sets, and people take him very seriously. Because he will follow through on what he says. And so I think there's like this healthy fear, I guess. I don't know, of like, oh my gosh. And because the thing is like he's asking them to respect. He would be asking them to respect like me or our family or something. So he's not asking for something bad. Yeah. But there is a healthy fear there of like he's just so independent. Whereas if I would ever be like, Mom, if you keep doing this, we're not going to see each other anymore, I would be like, I'm just sorry. I'm just kidding. Like, I just, I wouldn't want to do that. So, good. Scroggy Mama says that her daughter's on her phone.
Okay, good.
Lucky for you, Chris. They don't have to have an uncomfortable conversation tonight.
Sorry, did not want to fast track any conversations you all did not want to have. So, okay, wait. I have a question. I have a question for you though. Thinking about this, so. You could have asked me, how I felt about the situation with the, I think it was appropriate for her to take the wallet. How would you have handled the situation? I'm always interested to see how your brain works when it comes to these types of things. Like if you were this
Oh,
person and I'm not gonna use your real sister-in-law. Just say, man, this is your sister-in-law, whoever this person is. There's no one you actually know.
okay.
How would you handle this?
I wouldn't have done that. I would not have done that. I I don't even think that like that thought would have crossed my mind to
Mm.
like go and do that. I would have just been like, "No, we're not going here." Or you know what I would have done actually is I would have made a meal before she arrived.
Oh
So
yes.
that's what I would have done. I would have said, "Oh, you're coming. We're going like," and she wants to go out to dinner. I'm like, "Oh, I already have a roast in the crock pot. Don't even worry about it." That's what I would have done. So I would have like prevented us from going out to dinner. I would not have even thought of like saying I had to go to the bathroom and sneaking back in and grabbing their wallet, like searching for their wallet. But I would have prevented it in a different way by
Oh.
already having dinner made or like having dinner delivered from somewhere or even just like going by Costco and picking up like rotisserie chicken and like sides if I didn't want to cook. Like I would have already had a solution.
Mm. I like that. But okay, I love that solution. But here's a thought that crossed my mind. She didn't mention what her husband is doing in all of this situation, right? Like her husband's not getting
Oh yeah.
any shine in the story. Like is he enabling this? Because it doesn't sound like he's saying anything to his own sister. Like, hey, this isn't cool for you to keep doing this to my wife. Because she says, she has implied, referring to the sister-in-law, that since I make much more than her, I should be the one to pay. No, not my husband, but me specifically.
Hmm.
And so to me, it's like when it comes to matters of the family like this, and it's your spouse's side of the family, I feel like it's appropriate for them to be the one to address that because
Yes.
it never goes well if you're the spouse trying to
Mhm.
set somebody else's family in line like that. That
Yep.
normally doesn't turn out too well.
Yeah. Matt and I have this like unspoken rule of like, you deal with your family, I deal with my family. And I mean,
Yeah.
like, I know we're all family, but like, if there's an issue, you're like, I'm not touching that. You deal with that. And same thing for me, right? Is if my mom might like I remember whenever they were like toddlers or something, my kids were toddlers, she would might overstep a boundary as like grandma acting like mom. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, Mom, no. So it's like you deal with yours, I'll deal with mine. But sounds like but then some people don't do that very well. Some
Yeah.
people are so scared of that conflict, or maybe they just there's other reasons. So who knows? But
Yeah, I think it's only fair, right?
yeah.
It's only fair for him to have stepped in, at least say something, especially if
Oh
she
yeah.
voiced it to him. I don't know. Again, this we don't have all the details in this,
Right.
but if she voiced it to him, I think it would only be fair for him to kind of help
Yeah.
navigate this.
Beth Ann says there's some really weird money issues going on in that relationship. Sounds like the husband and wife have separate finances, which they might.
Oh, that's
Another
true.
thing I might do is I might just be like, you guys go to dinner without me. I'm
Oh
just going to
yeah,
hang back here tonight. I'm not feeling super well. I just need a rest. Like, I would be like, y'all go to dinner. Y'all have some brother sister time.
yeah. The two
Go,
of you,
go on
live
ahead.
together. It's been a while. Go ahead, enjoy
Yeah.
yourselves. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's
I'm all
another
for that.
option. Yeah. Cause you don't want to go out and socialize
Oh
and
yeah, I'm
be
fine with
out
that. Yeah, you
somewhere.
can exclude me from dinner anytime. I'm never gonna be like, oh man, I don't have to go change into uncomfortable clothes and leave the house. Man, guess I'll sit here in my
Ooh,
sweats and
wearing to
enjoy myself.
dinner.
I mean, if I gotta have something with a belt in it or like jeans, jeans are no, you can't. Jeans are here. Sweats are like way up here in the comfortability level.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's why if I can stay at home and be like in an ugly shirt and some comfortable pants, man, go ahead, enjoy yourselves. Especially if I know I'm gonna end up paying, I'm 100% okay with this. Oh,
Well, I think you did a great job choosing this story. It was good.
thank you. I was riveted when I read this the first time. So if anyone has an awkward story that they want us to discuss here on the show, please feel free to send it in. Again, it is 707 200 8259 where you can call us, leave your story that way, or just head over to awkwardpodcast.com and you can find us over there.
Yeah. We'll be back right after another quick break.
It's the break.
Why is it
Ooh,
say my name twice here?
where's your name at?
Oh, never mind. Just kidding. I wasn't looking for, never mind. It's just my
Oh,
eyes.
I know. It's always just your eyes. I was looking at the Discord here. Let's see. So, oh, wait. So
Costco rotisserie chicken is good.
it is.
Beth Ann.
Okay, no, I gotta say, Allison, I got one, and it smelled weird. I got one, and I was like, this doesn't smell or taste right. I think I got a
Really?
bad chicken. I don't know what happened to it, but it was I was
Oh.
like,
You know, anytime someone dies, I will
I don't know where
bring
this is going.
their family like 2 Costco rotisserie chickens and like one of like the really big sides or something and like a dessert from Costco. Like I go to Costco and I buy just food from there and I bring it to them. So like the mac
That's
and
nice of you.
cheese or just something really easy because then like I don't know, I'll bring like the big salad or something that way people can all eat. That's like I'm not the person that's like going to make you a homemade meal, but I will go to Costco and I will happily buy you a homemade not homemade meal. I will happily buy you a Costco made meal.
Yeah, because those
Um,
people are already hurting enough.
You're a jerk. You are awful. Are you proud of yourself right now?
I am. I am.
Is this
That
what brings you joy?
that was my
Tearing
wallet.
someone else down?
That was my wallet pull moment right there. I was like,
I
Allison, I
mean,
got this for you right here.
this is this like lift you up and
Whew.
make you feel so happy? Are you gonna
Oh,
go to sleep happy and proud of yourself
I am.
tonight because
I'm
of
gonna be
that
thinking
one?
about this one. I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I'm gonna be thinking about that. Oh,
You're
that
gonna
was a
be
good
laying
burn.
in bed and you're just be giggling. Oh, come on. Okay. Bring
Whew.
us back out of this.
Okay, you want me to bring it? You bring us back. I brought us back for the last break.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me recover the emotional pain of that one.
Put out
Because
that.
it's not that it's wrong, it's that it's right, right? That's why it hurts more. It's because you know I'm not a good cook.
Pour some of that wine
So
on that
like,
burn.
look at it. There was already the knife was already in, and you just twisted it and like
Whew.
shackled.
Oh man, this is the highlight of my week right here. It's not gonna get better than
Gosh,
this.
you're such a jerk. Okay, here we go.
Whew.
Okay, Chris, do you know what
Mhm.
time it is?
I do, Allison. Why don't you tell us about it?
It is time for what I'm loving. This is when Chris and I can share something that is bringing us joy, something that is making us smile, something that just lights us up. Maybe it's a book, a podcast, a song, a thought, a show, just an idea that could, I don't know, I can't even think right now. Something so wonderful. And we want to share it with you with the hope that you too could either try it out or focus more in on the things that you're loving in life and promote a sense of gratitude.
That was beautiful. That was
I
beautiful.
couldn't think because I'm still mad at you because of the things you said on the break.
Oh man. Well, here, you know what? Why don't you go first? That's the least I can do
Okay.
is let you go first.
Okay, thank you. I don't remember. Okay. Oh, you're going to feel so bad after I tell you what I'm doing. Okay. So actually, why don't you read it? Well, no, that's kind of boring. Okay. I am loving a book.
Okay.
And I really considered not sharing this, but I think I'm going to. And I'm not going to get too specific about it, but it is a book called Outsmarting Worry. And it is an older kid's guide to managing anxiety. So, if you know me, you know that I suffer from depression and anxiety, struggled with it for most of my life. And unfortunately, when you have children, sometimes you pass on your amazing qualities, but
Mm.
also the ones that like you kind of wish you didn't. So, I'm not going to like be super specific about my children, but I will say that this book has been so amazing in our home. It is it's very much written in like kid language that makes a child feel seen. So I would say anywhere from like maybe like 7, 8. It says grade levels 4 through 8, but I actually read it. I think it would work for like a 7 or 8 year old on up to maybe, 14. But it talks about anxiety in a way that they understand. And just the
Mm.
analogies it offers is so eye opening. And it's a book that's meant to be read by the parent or the caregiver and the child together. Because, like,
That's what I
for
was gonna ask
me,
you.
yeah, and so I actually read it out loud to the point where my children were like, keep reading, because one of them felt so seen. I mean, just
Mm,
felt like so, and when you are your child, you can't always like voice the feelings that you have. You're still learning about it. And
exactly.
this gives a voice to anxiety and to worry. And they call it like worry with a capital letter, a capital W. It is so incredible. It actually gives actual strategies for children that we use in our home. And we've even been like, when we're struggling with something, I'll say, okay, let's go get the book again. Let's open it up to one of the chapters that we think is going to help at this time. It is so amazing. And they have a lot of them. I think that this author has, I've kind of like gone down the, like I don't know, internet search of this author. There's so many amazing ones, but this is like the thing that I wish I had as a child that wasn't around.
Mm.
So anyone that has a child, that, if you have anxiety or you think that your child might have anxiety, I mean, like, it's $16 on Amazon. Get it. It's so worth it.
Yeah, I have it up here on the screen if you're watching the video, and I think this is a really cool tool because even as an adult, you don't always really have the words to even express how you're feeling when you're dealing with
But
like
we weren't
anxiety.
learned. We weren't learned. We weren't learned how to have the words.
Back in my day,
We,
they haven't even invented the
like,
word anxiety.
oh my gosh. Oh goodness.
But yeah, like
So,
you don't even know as an adult sometimes how to cope with those
mhm,
feelings. So
yeah.
especially like, and then if you don't have the words or the ability, then how can you really show a kid how to handle these things?
Exactly. And what has been so incredible about this book in particular is like, as someone who has depression, anxiety, I totally understand where people are coming from. Like,
Mm,
I know we sound crazy. I know it doesn't make sense to other people, but my husband, who has never had that, right? And he's found a lot of empathy just being married to me as someone who, just learning how to understand like someone that thinks differently and feels differently.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that book in particular has been so eye-opening for his children, and to see how his children are seeing things, and that the child might not be like crazy irrational and, just your kid, be quiet, but to really have more empathy and understand what's happening, because it's written in such a way that
Mm.
someone who doesn't have it can understand it.
Yeah, and it can be hard to understand something you've never
Mhm.
experienced, right? Like you don't,
Yeah,
if you, it
exactly.
just seems like that doesn't happen. I've never experienced that, so I feel like it doesn't exist. Not saying that he's taking
Yeah.
that stance or anything, but just
Yeah.
like in general, it's hard to understand something you don't deal with.
Yeah. One time Chris tried to be like, "Ugh, you haven't had a kid. Childbirth isn't hard."
I've
And
never said that. Do
I've
not put
never,
those words out there. I've never said that one. I've seen too much,
but
Allison. I would never say that.
so anyway, it's an amazing book. Highly recommend it. Outsmarting Worry. Go on Amazon, get it. If you have a niece or a nephew that you think might, need it, or just tell people about it. Just spread the word about this book. It is incredibly helpful. It gives a voice to children that don't understand exactly like why they're anxious about things.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah,
This is a really good recommendation. I'm happy you went
it
first,
is
because
a
mine is
really good one.
not serious in any way whatsoever. So I'm
I'm
happy
glad I
that
went
he went
first too.
first.
And to be honest, like, part of me didn't want to talk about it because it's like, don't reveal too much, right? Like, keep boundaries and
Yeah,
everything. But I mean, I don't know if it can help people, and I didn't like give specific names or anything. Like, it's just an amazing book.
yeah, you struck a good balance there. You struck a good balance.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay,
Oh,
Chris.
okay, so mine, as usual, is one of my favorite things we do here on the podcast. I love to see Allison guess what it is that I put down for what I'm loving. Like, what is that about? So what I have written here is Two Cool Moms. And I would love for you to guess
Okay.
what you think this is.
Okay, so I feel like I'm going to be wrong. Well, I don't.
Yeah, you're going to be wrong, but it's okay.
But what I think it is I'm going to go with a podcast.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
it's on a podcast. It's got to be a TV show or a
I'm not saying
movie. No,
anything. I'm just letting you go for it.
I think this is a podcast of two moms chatting. But see, this is what I think it is. But I don't think Chris Browning would listen to this,
You don't know what I would listen
which
to.
is why I I mean, okay, I'm just going to go with what I really think it is, even though I know that it's probably wrong. This is a podcast of two moms that tell hilarious stories about their children and parenthood, like totally off the wall things. And then they react to stuff, and it's super funny comedy. And it maybe like to the people listening that have children, it maybe makes them feel seen, and it's very like, haha, okay, this is, having kids can be hard, but it leads to humor and laughter. And for the people who listen who have no children, like you, they're like, hell no, I'm not signing up for that. Right? So is that what it is?
You are so close to almost being right.
What?
You were
Is
close.
this the closest I've ever been?
This is probably the closest you've been to guessing what it is.
TikTok? Is it a TikTok?
No, don't start changing it. No, it's a podcast. It is a podcast. It's called Two Cool Moms, and I'll show you the cover art.
Got that
here.
right.
Here you go. Here's the cover art. Those are the
What?
two cool
Those are
moms.
Those are dads. Those
So
are men.
I've been on this huge binge of Impractical Jokers. I don't know if have you ever seen that show? It's like one of those like basic cable shows that people kind of know, but not everyone knows about it. But it's really popular, but it's not like super popular to where everyone you come across knows about it. So have you ever heard of this show?
No, I just said no.
Oh, so Impractical Jokers, it's this show about this group of friends. It's four guys. They did a lot of improv, together for fun. And they basically are doing, it's not a prank show because I don't really like pranks, but they do these challenges that they have to do like in public. So it'll be like, one of my favorites is they'll go to this like focus group, and then they'll have to pitch a product that they develop, but the other person has created the product for them. So they have to read the script that they gave them about the product, and it'll be something ridiculous. Like one was like a tire with a baby doll head and arms on it. And it's like, oh, it's both a toy for your kid and a spare tire in case you get a flat. Like it's like stupid, ridiculous stuff like that. So okay. I love this show. It's on HBO Max now, so I can watch it without commercials. And
wait, but it's a podcast.
So that's the show. This guy, so I'll give you a setup. So this guy here on the left, Joe Gatto, he is one of the guys from that show. He left recently, and he was one of the four friends. And the other guy, Steve Byrne, I didn't know him before this, but he's a stand-up comedian. And they started this podcast together. And basically the premise is they both have very strong mothers in their lives who they loved, and they got a lot of great advice from. So they decided they're going to do this show, and they're going to give advice to people, based off of the inspiration from their mom. So they're your two cool moms to give you advice to help you through your random situations. And this show is hilarious. Like I came across it because I follow the Joe Gatto on Instagram, and he posted something. I was like, what? He has a podcast? And I binged all the episodes. I went back to the very beginning.
Wow.
And they are so hilarious. This is one of the funniest shows I've ever listened to. Every week they bring it. And so half the show is them kind of just like talking and just, being hilarious. The other half is them taking these random questions that they get from people. It could be it's like literally any random question people want, they can send it to them and they'll talk about it.
Do they always phrase the answer as what their mom would say?
That's more like for fun. Like they're giving their own advice, but it's kind of like the setup. It was like, we're your two cool moms, and they'll bring someone on, and they'll be like, this is your cool aunt, and then she's gonna give you some advice too. Like it's just for fun. It's like everything's not like, well, my mom would do it this way. It's more so just the setup of the show, but it is hilarious. Like I'm not a big fan of listening to like a celebrity podcast. Like just because you're famous, it doesn't mean I'm going to be entertained by your show. But these two,
it's hard to impress Chris.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Celebrities impress Chris.
I don't want to just hear your stories about being rich and doing rich people stuff. Like I don't want to hear that. But these two guys are hilarious. Like they're just so funny that even if they're talking about nothing, I'm enjoying listening to it. So I'm basically I'm caught all the way up now. I went back and listened to every episode, and now I'm caught back up. And I highly recommend this. If you want to just laugh. I've laughed. I don't think I've laughed out loud this much from podcasts ever.
Would I like it?
I think you would. I even think you would. I don't know what your threshold is. Like they're not talking about anyone getting murdered or anything like that, or people joining cults. You may not like it. But they do talk about toilets. They didn't talk about anyone dying on a toilet, but they have talked about toilets. So
you're never gonna let that down. Let's move on to the next segment. It's time for our listener shout out. Chris, take it away.
Do we have one in here? I don't think we forgot to write it in.
Oh no! Our shout out is Beth Ann.
Oh, that's right. Yes, thank you. We forgot to write it in our notes here, but our shout out goes to Beth Ann, who we dedicated last episode to because she lives in Florida. She had to leave her house because of the Hurricane Ian. She had lost power, but thankfully she was able to get back into her house. She got her power back. So we're very happy that Beth Ann is safe, her family's safe, her home is safe. And, everything's going okay. Because, we were concerned for you there. That was a crazy, crazy situation going on over there. So we're really happy to hear that, that you're doing okay.
So we're dedicating this to Beth Ann and all of her Floridian family.
Yeah. If any of you out there listening are also in Florida and been impacted by this, we're with you. We're really sorry that if you're struggling that you're dealing with this, because it's something like that that's so hard to deal with. To be pushed out of your house, to see the flooding and damage I saw out there, and it takes so long to clean that up and recover from that. So we're with you, and we hope you're all doing well and you're safe.
Yeah. Well, Chris, we did it.
We made it.
We made it with only one major insult. Oh wait, that was during the break.
One nice burn. I may just throw that in there for everyone else here because I'm so proud of that burn.
I'm so upset with you. Please don't. Thank you to Chris for finding that story online.
You're welcome.
It wasn't actually someone that sent that in, but thank you. And then if you want us to share your awkward money story, you can call us and leave us a message at 707-200-8259. Or if it's easier for you, just go to awkwardpodcast.com. There you can actually leave us a voice memo. You can type out a story because we want to talk about your awkward money situations.
Yes, we do. Because that's what makes this show fun. It's when we get to talk about your awkward situations, and also get a nice sick burn in there for Allison along the way. So,
oh my goodness. Okay, and then if you want more awkwardness and more, Chris being hateful towards me, then, which no one wants that. Come join us over on Patreon. You can, the things start at the tier. Chris, take it away.
Yeah, I'll handle this for you. Don't worry. I know you're still recovering. So the tiers start at $3 where you can kind of join us, get an ad-free RSS feed so you don't have to listen to any ads. But if you go up to the $5 tier, you get these bonus episodes and you get to be part of our Discord. You get to hear me prep and give you bonus burns for Allison that you can just DM to her if you want to. Like if you want some burns, you can just send to Allison. Let me know. I'll send those to you. That's one of the new benefits I added to our Patreon. On top of that, you get at least a couple of bonus episodes every single month. We're actually going to be recording a bonus episode right after this. But yeah, if you're enjoying the show, you like what we do, you want to support us, come on over.
I don't know how I feel about you telling people to come support us so they can insult me.
I mean, they're going to be family-friendly burns. It's not going to be, we'll never take it too far. But, a nice healthy burn.
They wouldn't do that to me. Neither would Shirley. Anyway, this has been fun. If you want to join us on Patreon, just click the link in the show notes or go to awkwardpodcast.com to learn more about it.
Yeah. We'll talk to you all a couple weeks or next week if you're a patron.
Yeah. I'm going to have a couple weeks to get my burns ready.
You prep. Start writing it out.
Get you back. I'm going to journal every morning. How can I insult Chris? I'm going to have them ready to go. You just wait and see. Drowning.
I'm waiting.
Okay. See you next time.
Bye. All right, that's the episode. But stick around because we're going to do our bonus episode now. We redid our schedule a little bit here. So we're going to be recording twice a month now, but we're just going to do both of them back to back. So we're going to do our regular episode and then we'll do the bonus episode for you. So that way we can keep it here in the evening. It was too hard for us to move our schedules around so we could do the evening every week. Well, we could do it twice a month or every other week for you. So that's what we're going to do right now.
Yes. Let me pull up my notes.
Ooh. Here we go. Man, thank you for letting me give you that sick burn. That sick burn.
I hate you. You're so mean sometimes. Why do I still want to be your friend? I don't know. Joke's on me. Okay, let's do this. Do we have music for our Patreon episodes or we just jump right in?
What?
Okay. I have some good ones for you today.
Some good what?
Okay, this is the start of our Patreon.
Oh, I was like, did the episode start? I didn't know. No.
Yeah, this is the start of our Patreon episode. Do you play music for it or no?
Here, how about this? There we go. Why not? I already got the button there. Might as well press it.
I love it. Okay, so Chris and I decided to prep a little bit, and we decided to do just a couple of back and forths of our new potentially new segment called Am I the Awkward One? So Chris gave me some homework. He said, Allison, find some awkward situations. Oh, Chris, do I have some awkward situations?
I got some for you too. How many do we want to do each?
How about like, I'll give you 2.
All right, 2 and 2.
Give me 2. And then what's the scale rating again? 1 to 5?
Okay. Yeah, here, we'll break it down. So shout out to Scroggy Mama. She gave us the name for this segment. So it's Am I the Awkward One? It's a play on the subreddit Am I the A-hole, since we're, it's a family-friendly show here. Yeah. And basically, we each go and find awkward situations. We share them with each other, and then we will, and also you in the Discord will rate this on a scale of 1 to 5 on how awkward is this situation. 1 being, meh, this is not that bad. I didn't really care. It didn't faze me. 5 being, this is so cringy. This is so awkward. I would run away from the situation as quickly as possible. So that's our rating scale there.
Okay. You ready for this?
Take it away, Allison. You get number one.
Okay. I'm going to go with my best one here.
Oh, you're going in hot. You're going to go, you putting your best one forward. Okay.
Oh, should I? Should I not? Oh,
do it. Go for it.
Okay. I was walking down the street and I mistook the man limping towards me for someone I knew. Oh my God, what happened to you? I asked. He replied, I had polio as a child.
Oh no, I shouldn't laugh at that. That's bad. It's a complete stranger. They don't know who this is.
A complete stranger. So you see someone walking on the street or, wherever at work, and you see them limping and you think you know them and you're like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, you hurt yourself? And the person responds, I had polio as a child. And you realize that that's not the person you knew.
My immediate reaction was, oh, that's like a 4 or 5. But now thinking about it, I'm going to downgrade this to I'm going to give this a 2 because they could have mistook this for just being genuine concern. Like I saw them, hey, what happened to you? What's going on? And they're like, oh, I had polio as a kid, and then you can brush it off and you may never have to see this person again. So I think I could at least convince myself in my mind that maybe they mistook this for a genuine question. And I was just curious, and then we just never see each other again. So I could live with that situation. So I give it a 2 on my scale.
I'm sorry. Is it like okay if you were to go up to someone who's walking with the stick and is blind for you to go up and be like, hey, what happened to you? Like,
but you would never ask that to a blind person. If someone's limping, it's a legitimate question to say, what happened to you? If someone's blind, you're not going to just be like, oh, well, what happened? That's not a question you're going to ask a blind person.
Okay, what if someone walks up to you and they're like, oh my gosh, how far are you into your cancer? Because you don't have any hair on your head.
Wow, you got real dark with that. You got real dark with that one there.
I think this is awkward. I give this one a solid 4.
No, this is why it's different. This is why it's different, right? Because if saying do you have cancer is a lot different than saying why do you have a limp, because the answer could be anything. It could be, oh, my leg is asleep. Oh, you know what, I stubbed my toe this morning. Oh, you know what, I sprained my ankle. There's a lot of very low level reasons as to why you could be limping. I never think, oh, are you limping because you have polio or you have polio? You don't ever think that's going to be the response. So that's why I downgraded it.
Well, I think it's a solid 4 because you're just like reminding them of their truth, bringing it back up. Scroggy Mama says my husband is rolling his eyes at me about the segment name that she came up with.
Tell him you are internet famous because you have named the segment.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, okay, yeah. So I say 2.5. I said 2. What did you say? 4.5?
I think it's a solid 4.
That's pretty high.
I would feel so bad
if you think about all the things that could happen to you. And you're going to put asking someone why you're limping at number 4 on the scale?
And their answer is they had polio? Yes.
But see, what makes it awkward is the response, not the situation. Like, just asking that wasn't the awkward part. It was just unfortunate what the answer to that question was.
Which makes it a solid 4.
I'll give that to you. For me, I'm like, I could figure that out. I can get away from that one.
Yeah, because you have no heart. Right? That's the difference between me and you. I have empathy. I'm an empathetic person and I think about others.
No.
Like, oh, well, that's not awkward for me. It's all about me. That's you. It might feel bad for them, but that's them, not me.
No. Anyways.
Chris.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay, your turn.
My turn here.
Give me your one.
All right, let me get situated here. Let me find one on my list. I have four. You know
Okay.
what? Okay, I'm picking this one only because a teacher is referenced in this awkward situation. Okay, I
Okay.
got to clean this up here because they just wrote some stuff I'm not going to say. But they said, I'm a teacher. I went to get a vasectomy, and the mother of a student with whom I had recently had a conference was the nurse who had to, we'll just say, shave me in preparation for the procedure. How, where do you rank this 1 out of 5? And if you're in the
I
Discord, you can
would.
tell us too where you think this is. How would you rate this 1 out of 5?
I give it a solid 5. That is awkward. That is so awkward. But also, why didn't they tell him to come prepared?
That
That
feels
should
like
have
something
been
you
like
should take care of at
on
home.
the prep list. Yeah. Like if you go and have a baby, well, no, what do they do? Whenever I had C-sections, they were like, be prepared. Like you need to shave. Be prepared. Like they tell you to be prepared. You know it's happening. It's
I
different
mean,
for an
that's true.
emergency C-section.
He should have known that, hey, they're going to be in the region. They need to see
Yeah.
what's going on. You got to prep this.
And they solder things down there.
Yeah,
And
they're
so you don't want anything to catch on fire, get burned. Like hair, that could smell really bad.
yeah, but
But
I
that's
could.
a solid 5. Beth Ann says 5. Scroggy Mama says 4. What about you, Chris? I mean,
I'm
you're the man. You're a man here. You can
I'm giving
relate
that a
to this,
5.
right?
I never want to walk into a doctor's office and be helped by someone I know if it's that personal. Like if they're taking my blood pressure, fine. It could be my neighbor. I don't care.
Yeah.
But if I gotta reveal more of what's going on, I don't want it to be someone I know. I don't want it to be a stranger, but I really don't want it to be someone
Yeah.
I know.
I'm really surprised that he didn't ask for a different nurse. Like to say like, "Hey, there's got to be someone else that, can help him be his hairdresser for the time being." Like
Okay, so
like why shouldn't there be like someone else that can do that if there's like a conflict or if it's weird?
that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Like as you were saying it, I was like, well, you're there, and you're like, wouldn't that be weird to be like, I don't want you to do your job. I'd rather have someone else. But then as you explained it, I'm like, I think this woman probably would rather not have had to shave a part of a person's body who teaches her kids. I think she probably would have preferred
As
not to
a
deal with that too.
woman, maybe she would have preferred not to shave anyone's body. Maybe she would have
Yeah.
preferred for him to take care of himself at home, do his homework, and show up with his things taken care of.
That is
Maybe
true.
that's what she would have preferred.
That is true. I do not doubt that. But yeah, I'm saying this is a 5 for me. This is so awkward
Okay,
because then
that's a good one.
you're always going to think of that every time you see this person, and he's going to have to see this person again.
Maybe not, but maybe.
Yeah, it's a high likelihood.
Okay.
Scroggy Mama said her husband says a 5. Yes, he is right. That is a 5.
Okay. Scroggy Mom, I want to know your husband's opinion on this next one as well.
Ooh,
Okay, you ready
okay.
for this, Chris?
I'm listening. I'm ready.
Okay. My wife and I met her friend for lunch one day. She had just had a baby. I bent over to give her friend's baby a peck on the cheek. Didn't see she was breastfeeding until it was too late. It wasn't her baby I kissed.
So was it a panic? Did she get down and like, oh no, and then she swerved and it ended up going
the
wrong?
husband goes down to like say hi to the baby and give it the
Oh,
husband thought that
Oh, so this
his
was
friend's boob.
this was the husband.
So
Okay.
a husband and a wife go to meet the wife's friend for lunch
Oh
to see her
no.
baby.
Oh no.
Spend time with her baby. They go and they say hi. He thinks that she's just holding a baby.
I mean, it's kind of
Versus,
obvious if someone's breastfeeding. Like you that's not like I just thought you were just holding a baby.
Yeah, well, maybe not all men are just looking at people's boobs.
Well, I mean, he's looking at the baby.
Regardless, baby's breastfeeding. He doesn't realize that. He goes down to kiss a baby's cheek, which when I read this to Matt, he was like, why is he kissing the baby's cheek? That's weird.
Yeah.
But then he kisses his friend's boob instead.
Okay, see, I got a lot of other questions. Like, starting with the ranking, I'll give the ranking first. This is a 5 because that's weird. And now she experienced this. She's may tell the wife about this. They're gonna have to talk about this.
I think the wife was there.
Did the wife see
They're
this?
together,
That's
probably.
all kinds of weird.
I don't know. This was like a tweak, so he was limited on the amount of story he could tell.
That's pretty bad. That's a 5 because that is just gonna be weird for a long time.
I agree.
But here's the thing: a kiss isn't like a that's not a unstoppable movement. It's not like you start a kiss and you can't stop. I'm sorry, I've initiated the kiss. Something has to get kissed right now, and it's I can't control it. That feels like you have the option to be like, oh, whoops. Like, how close do you have to be able to determine that this baby is breastfeeding? Like, I feel like as you're,
I don't know.
as
Maybe
you're
he
leaning,
just wanted it. Maybe this is all just a lie.
I think he wanted
Maybe
to
he was
kiss.
going in for it.
He wanted to kiss this friend's breast, and he used this baby as an excuse. He figured this is my opportunity to be a weirdo, and he decided to do this. Because that I don't understand that unless you like maybe if you're falling, but then you can retract your lips, and put your hands down or something. Like I don't understand. I just can't understand the situation in which.
Why would someone be falling towards someone's breast?
That's the only reason you could say, oh, my face accidentally, I lost my balance and I fell over. But even then, that's weird. Like this man, I don't know. I got some more questions for this guy because this is kind of weird. Like it's a 5 for sure. But that man, I have some other questions for what's going on because that was weird.
I also give it a 5 if even if it was someone I knew, some man like my friend's husband kissed my boob, I'd be like, I don't need to see you for a while.
Okay, yeah.
We need to.
I want to know from your perspective because from the man,
I'm not hungry anymore. I don't really want to eat lunch. Like, I think I'd rather just go home now.
I left my wallet at home. I'm sorry, I can't go out to dinner. Yeah, because as a man, I'm thinking of this as that would be really awkward to then see that person again because you don't know how creepy they now think you are. But from a woman's perspective, yeah, what are you thinking? Like, what would be going through your mind now? Would you think this man did this on purpose?
I guess it depends on the man, right? I guess it depends on like the way it happened or something. But I would definitely avoid him. I would just be like, this is really weird. Like, and then I think like, what if they had like a beard and it was scratchy and I felt that, ugh. So like, that's immediately what I thought. Like, oh, like feeling someone else's like beard hair scratch you, ugh, gross. So I would not be happy. I will say that.
That was a good one. That is a weird one, but that is a good one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, your turn.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let's see. Okay, all right. I'm gonna either use. Oh, which one? Let's see.
Come on, Chris.
Okay. All right. I got 2. Do you want
one?
I got okay. Do you want just pick? Okay, I'm gonna pick one. I'm just gonna go in order here. He said, I went out for drinks with some friends, and the girl I was seeing at the time, she ended up staying over. The next morning, as we were leaving for brunch, I went into the bathroom, and it smelled awful. I immediately turned and yelled across the house to my roommate, "Turn the effing fan on." Later that day, my roommate informed me that it wasn't him. It was the girl who I was seeing, and she neglected to own it. Needless to say, I felt like a jerk.
Aww. Okay, as the woman, like, I would feel like that's a 5. I would never want to see him again.
Would it be over? Like, you're like, this relationship is not going to happen. We're done.
If it's like you're dating or like obviously, let's keep this PG because Scroggy Mama's daughter is listening, but it sounds like
he brought her over to play. They played Monopoly, and Monopoly's a long game, so she had to spend the night on the couch.
Stop it! You're really not good at like coding this. This is not your forte.
It is. I don't have kids.
You clearly don't have kids. Everyone's playing. What is that train game now? Not Monopoly. Just kidding. I played Monopoly with my kids the other day.
Ticket to Ride?
Ticket to Ride. We've played that before.
We have.
I would be so mortified. I would be like, to me, it's a 5. If that like person had not called out, like yelled at the roommate, I would consider it a solid like 2.5 to 3. But it's the fact that it was acknowledged in a shameful manner that makes it a 5.
And he made it clear that it smelled awful. Again, he said it smelled awful. And he yelled, "Turn the effing fan on."
Yeah, no. That's not good. What would you call that?
For her. That's I'll reserve my 5. I'm not gonna give it a 5. That's definitely a 4. that's way up there because it's like everyone uses the bathroom, and then being married, you it just becomes whatever. Like you gotta go into the same bathroom all the time, so you just get used to it. So that's why it's not a 5. But if it's early in the relationship, that's hard to recover from, just for you on your part.
Relationship.
So like when you play games with someone, and you don't know if they're gonna say we would like to keep playing games, if they're gonna go have a relationship where they play games for the rest of their lives. I don't know, but if this is just
you might end up singing "Quit Playing Games with My Heart" to them once.
Where's my? I should have my sound effects ready for you. Hold on.
With my heart.
This is what you get right here. Where's it at?
Womp womp womp.
That's what you get. Oh, but yeah, like if it's an early relationship, it may be hard to recover from that. Just for her, because she probably feels really like, oh no,
oh my gosh,
oh no. You're not supposed to let the other person know you take dumps until at least you're several months into the relationship, right? Like you just assume that each other don't use the bathroom at all.
Okay, so I actually have a personal story, except it's the reverse kind of thing. So I dated this guy in college, and he was super flighty. And I never knew why. I was like, why are you like insisting on leaving? Or why do you need to be like, oh, like what's happening? And I remember I don't know how you were with like sports in college, but I was really into watching basketball. And so we would camp out to get like first pool of tickets for these basketball games. And so we'd have like, a big group of people. We were serious. And we would literally, there would be like a tent, and we would have a schedule, and you would literally sleep in the tent because there had to be someone from your party there 24 hours a day for like 3 days.
Oh no.
So you have this big group of people, and you create a schedule. And so I was there sleeping one night, and he was there, and he like abandoned me. And I was like, I don't want to sleep in this tent by myself. I mean, there were all these other people around, but I got really upset. And I finally was like, what is going on? Like, why did you abandon me? You were on the schedule too. Like, what's happening? And it turns out he had he had Crohn's disease.
Oh,
which is really bad.
And you were just such a jerk to him.
Listen, he was a huge jerk to me. I told you all the things he did. So I was a minimal jerk to him, and I felt bad. So turns out he had Crohn's disease, and that's why. So what if she has maybe she had some like irritable bowel syndrome or Crohn's disease or something?
I mean, he didn't say. He said
really feel bad.
Oh yeah, I mean,
well, he doesn't know because she never went out with him again because it was so embarrassing.
I mean, he said he feels bad though, because that's what guys do. You yell at someone. I mean, even if you're in a relationship for long enough, you're like, what is happening in this bathroom? Like you'll say that type of stuff. But they were too early for this. This was too early. The relationship had not got to that trust point yet.
I like how you're pulling the curtain behind on what you're like to be in a relationship with.
If it's someone I know, relationship or not, if we know each other, and I walk into the bathroom and it smells like a skunk has died, I will say something to you. if we're friends, I'm not gonna do it to a stranger, but I will be.
You and I aren't friends.
Good thing I've never walked into a bathroom after you.
That's true.
Oh, but yeah, that was okay. Okay, so you're giving it a 5. I'm giving it a 4.
I'm giving it, yes. And then Scroggy Mama says, I have an awkward story for this next time you do this. Okay, so we need to figure out a way. Scroggy Mama, send Chris a private message.
Oh, no, just go to the website.
Oh, yeah, put it into the website.
There we go. Let me put it awkward.
I was going to say, okay. And then we had, to wrap up our Patreon, or for the second topic, I guess, we had some requests. Who was it? Let me find it. We had some requests for what we should talk about today.
Yes, we do.
Okay, Scroggy Mama says, y'all should do an episode comparing how you budget. I know Allison is amazing and fabulous and wonderful at it.
She's all right.
But Chris isn't?
That's not what it says. That is not what it says. Don't think because I'm looking down, I don't hear what you're saying.
She says it would be interesting or awkward to see how we differ on our thoughts and the best way to budget. And then everyone talked about how much they love seeing me budget, my real people budgets. And then no one said anything amazing about you.
Yeah, like we don't know what Chris is doing. He's just winging it.
That link is not clickable.
There we go. I switched it out. There we go. Now it's clickable. It's a clickable link for everyone.
So let's talk about how we budget. You and I have kind of had a conversation about this, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. We haven't had a refresher on what we're doing because we're nerds and we like to talk about budgeting and show each other our spreadsheets and be like, look at this.
We do.
This new one I set up here.
we don't share, like, one of the things that when I started Inspired Budget, one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to share my budget. Like, I wanted to, like, literally let people inside my budget. And Matt is a very private person.
He's like, nah.
And he was like, no. And I was like, what? Why not? This could be so educational. And he was like, no. Like, he already is probably uncomfortable with the fact that I'm, publishing a book with stories about our family in it. Like, he doesn't even have social media. Like, he's super private person. So, being married to me, I'm sure it's very difficult for him. But whatever. He should have realized, he should have known about my future career when he married me. But anyway,
before he wrote this post on Reddit about walking into the bathroom, that should have been his moment to reconsider all this.
Shut up. So anyway, now I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, but Chris and I share our, so he's like one of the only friends that I'll like openly share my finances with, because Matt doesn't know and I don't think he would care. Maybe he would care. Let's not tell him. But we do it for yeah. So we'll do that. And I don't think he subscribes to Patreon. So we'll do that for like business, but also personal.
Yeah.
Like you and I will. But it's been a while since we've been able to talk about that.
It has been. So do you want me to open up about budgeting first, or you want to go first?
I want you to tell me how you budget.
Okay, I'll tell you how I budget.
I want to judge you. No, I'm kidding. I want to judge you.
So I've done it a couple of different ways. So I kind of have, it's weird. I have two different budgeting kind of, I guess, things in place. So the first one is I use an Excel spreadsheet, and that's kind of just where I lay out how I want to budget my money. So I have like little columns where like, oh, this is for rent, this is for insurance, this is for food, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And this kind of just gives me an outline.
Do you do it for like a year's look, or like a general one? Or is this like per paycheck, or is it monthly? Like,
oh, I gotta be specific. That's right. So,
yeah. I mean, like this is like your overall, like in a normal month, here are my like fixed expenses, here are my variable, like what is it?
Got it. This is like my snapshot of what I want the month to look like. So it's not like what's happening, but it's what I want it to look like. So that way I know, okay, is this realistic? Like with the amount of money I'm making and these are my expenses, that really make sense? Or am I really just setting myself up to spend too much money?
Do you put the actual expenses in there? Like for instance, your electricity bill that might, fluctuate.
I put like a rough estimate because everything is fixed. I think the only bill I have that changes, I mean, it's like it'll be electricity because that can change month to month.
Okay.
But everything else is pretty fixed.
What about water?
So we don't pay water in our apartment. We don't pay. Only thing we pay is electricity, and there's no gas, so that's all. Everything's electric: water heater, stove, all that stuff. Okay. So I don't worry about that.
Okay. Wow.
And then
our gas bill changes, our water bill changes, and our electricity bill changes.
Yeah. See, so it makes it a little bit easier, but still, electricity changes. Like during the spring, it's probably the lowest. During the summer, it spikes. During the winter, it spikes because it gets cold, a little bit colder. So, but other than that, everything else is fixed. So I lay it all out. I have all my subscriptions. I have therapy in my budget. I put food, which is both. I do both going out to eat and then like groceries. And I don't stick super hard to those. I let them like interchange with each other.
Do you actually follow through with the amount that you set?
Well, okay, that's step one.
I know you're a foodie.
Food is where all my money goes. I don't spend. Yeah. I don't have a new nice car. I don't travel a ton. All my money is going to food. And so what I used to see, what I'm actually doing is a new app. It's not new anymore to me. I've been using it for like a couple of years. It's called Copilot. And basically I just, I connect all my accounts to it. It pulls in all the data. Whatever categories I set in my Excel budget, I just copy over to there. And then that's how I can judge if I'm actually sticking to my budget or not. I can be like, oh, you know what? I went over this month here, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's basically my structure. And over the years, I've gotten better at, I always leave like a buffer. So I don't budget 100% of my income. I budget what I know is going to happen. The rest I kind of just let sit there and say, if I decide to go over on food, I'm not having to pull out my credit card. It's just going to eat into that little bit of buffer I set there.
And then at the end of the month, do you take your buffer, anything that's left, and like transfer it somewhere or do anything with it?
What I'll do is, if there's anything left over, because sometimes I see at the end of the month, like, oh, look at that extra money. Maybe I should go eat some more food. So sometimes I might do that. But if there's something left over at the end of the month and I know there's not something big popping up at the start of the next month, then I'll decide, okay, I normally either will transfer it to my just general like emergency savings if I maybe need to build that back up, or I'll put some of it in investing. I'll put like in my IRA, or I'll put a little bit in like my fun money account, and I'll just like, okay, this is when I want to
Mhm.
just go do something else fun. That's kind of how I
Do you have
handle
like
my
a
budget.
separate checking account or savings account for your fun money?
Oh yeah, so that's my other way I kind of keep myself in check is I have
Mm.
like 8 bank accounts, and I have so I have one that's like all my
My
regular expenses
gosh.
come out of that account. I have one that's like
Okay.
for my bills, so my monthly bills I pay it out of that account. So that way it
Aren't those your regular expenses?
well no like so what bothers me when I budget is that I
Okay.
hate seeing money in my account that I know is not gonna be there anymore. So if I know these
Mm.
bills are gonna be getting pulled
Oh,
out, I don't want it to be like a false hope
yep,
that I have all this money here
yep,
that's not really there. So I like to
yep.
move it over to another account and let it pull it from there. So that way I know what's
That makes
actually
sense.
going on. And then the rest are a
Mhm.
bunch of savings accounts. I have one for Christmas. I have one
Okay.
for travel. One for just general fun stuff. One for some other stuff I can't remember. Oh, car insurance and registration. So I like
Oh,
to
do you
break
do
it
that
all
yearly?
out. Yeah. So that way I can
Okay.
say that money's there. I don't have to think about it. I know when I need to pay it, the money's going to be there for me. And that's kind of how I structure everything. Hopefully I covered everything quickly. I was trying not to talk too much about my side.
No, I like it. I like it. I think that like having that separate checking account for your bills is a game changer for so many people because of exactly what you said, where you're like, oh, I don't want to think that it's there. Because that's
Yes.
exactly how I would get in trouble.
All the time.
That is exactly how I went to the grocery store and had my debit card declined the very first time it ever happened.
Yep.
It was
I've
because
been
I
there.
like there were no apps or anything. It was
Mm-mm.
just I checked online and I was like, "Oh, I have money there." But then my rent came out in college. But I thought there was like $450 there, but my rent was $450
Yeah,
because I was
exactly.
sharing a duplex, you know? So it was that yeah. So I like that. Are you really good about like doing this every month? Because I know you're paid monthly, right?
Yeah, so I pay myself monthly.
So so do you create this system and plan for it before you get paid or after you get paid?
Oh, that's a good question. You're a good interviewer, budget interviewer, Allison. Um,
Oh, well, the next question I'm going to ask you is why are you such a jerk? But
I can't wait. Uh, So I try to automate as much as I can because I don't trust
yeah.
myself to be like, oh, every month I got this day I got to do it because I'm not gonna do it. So I basically
Mhm.
have automated transfers. So what I do is I transfer money so that way it gets to my account and I'm getting paid like on the first. And then I have all my transfers to all those savings accounts I mentioned happen on the fifth. So that way, just in case I forget to do a transfer or something happens and it's a holiday and it comes late, I have 5 days at the beginning of the month to give me that buffer so I don't overdraw an account
Okay.
accidentally. So everything
Okay.
gets transferred over on the fifth. I do that for my all those savings. I do that for my retirement into an IRA. All of it gets split up, and then after that, I can just go ahead and just manage everything from there. And Beth Ann said she was looking at Copilot. It's a really cool app, and the reason why I like it too is that it tracks your recurring bills. So I can go in there and then I set up, okay, these things are happening every month, and then it actually automatically checks it off as you pay it. Like you don't have to manually do
Oh,
it.
that's
It'll
cool. You
just say,
get
oh,
to go to manual.
paid, so I can see what's coming up next or what hasn't been taken out, or if it's like, hey, this didn't come out. Why didn't this come out? Is it just an error or did I forget to pay something? But everything I have is automatic to pay with a credit card. So all my bills that I can automatically pay with a credit card. And then from that one checking account that's for bills, I pay the credit card off. So that credit card is just for bills, nothing else. So it doesn't get all commingled and weird.
Yeah. How often do you pay your credit card off?
I pay for those. I let it automatically roll through and automatically pay it for me. But if I use a card for something, I'll literally stop and go pay it immediately. Like I'll use it like at the gas station, and then I'll sit in my car. I'm like, dude, fit whatever, $2,000 for gas paid, and then,
Good one.
and
I
then
was
that's
like
it.
$50. You're not filling up in California on $50. That's
No,
in
I won't.
Texas over
I won't even get into how much gas is over here right now. It's
here. Yeah.
missing
Okay.
my
I
missing
like
that
it.
rental Tesla I had.
So Scroggy Mama wants to know how has budgeting been since leaving your regular job?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's been taking me a while to get used to it because, I'm essentially paying myself. So it's a little more effort on my part to make sure I've transferred the money because sometimes I don't
Oh, it's
automate
not
every.
done automatically for you?
Well, I have like, so the weird thing is because of the way I've set up the business, I'm like on my own payroll. Like I pay myself essentially. So you pay yourself and then also you can distribute money from your business to yourself. And so
Yeah.
I have to go through there and then also keep track of any expenses that I can consider a business expense. Like you can, say
Yeah.
part of your internet or part of your electricity or part of your rent can be technically a bill or
Oh, yeah.
expense.
We do that
Yeah,
once a
and
month. Yeah.
exactly. And so
Percentage
since
of it.
Exactly. And since my electricity changes every month, I have to manually update that. So that's the one I have to manually do.
Mhm.
So I have to now be aware of that. So that is just a little weird, me getting used to having to be a little more hands on with that part versus, hey, they're going to direct deposit this every 2 weeks and I have to think about it. But also you were used to this already, but going monthly instead of every 2 weeks was weird for me.
Oh yeah. Scrawny Mama says it's like she has a podcast because you were like,
It's,
you're good at asking questions. Yeah, I do this on my own podcast, Chris.
it's
You've
like
been
you've
on
done
it.
this before.
Yeah. Which, by the way, when Matt edited my podcast episode with you on it, he was like, y'all are so easy to edit because you're both podcasters. Like, it was so simple.
We've done this before.
So,
We've talked on the mic before.
okay. I like it.
Oh, can I interview you now? Is it my turn to flip it
Okay.
on? Okay.
Let's
So,
go.
so Allison, start off by telling us a little bit about how you budget your money.
Well, Christopher. No, it's funny because I hear you saying all of this and how you do it, and like your system is so much more automated than mine. Like people are going to hear about mine and they're going to be like, "Why do you do that?" But for me, it's almost like the way that I learn.
Mm.
I feel like it's almost like good for me the way I do it even though it's more time consuming because it like solidifies into me. So, here's
And
what
you're
I do.
super organized too. You're good at keeping
I
to a
I
schedule.
am I am really organized. So like, just with like ADHD, I have to have routines in my life. Like I thrive on routines and I have chaos. Like my mind is in chaos when I don't have a routine and then that comes out of my attitude. So for me, I do really well when I'm like doing the same thing. Like I eat the same thing for breakfast every morning and I
Oh
usually eat
yeah, I
the same
cannot
thing
do
for
that.
lunch. Like I can't have too many choices because otherwise it's just too much and I
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
shut down. So for me, it started really with tracking my expenses in college. Whenever I overdrafted and had to go to my mom for help, and she said, "Allison, you need to start using this program. The only way I'm going to help you is if you start using this program." And it was Microsoft Money, which
Oh
is no
man.
longer around. I know, I know. It was 2000, like it was probably 2006, 2007 when this happened. Start using Microsoft Money in 2007. I had to go home. I had to drive home, and she sat me on the ground in my childhood home with like all of my bank statements and was like looking through and judging me for all of my spending and was like out of control. And that was the first time that I was like, oh crap, I have a problem. Like
Mm,
I
yeah.
hadn't been, like my eyes weren't opened up to it. So I would use Microsoft Money to basically track my expenses with the sole purpose of me not overdrafting. So I wasn't using
Okay.
Microsoft Money for me to like be better with money and budget. It was just so that way I knew I wouldn't overdraft. Anyway, fast forward, Microsoft Money is no longer a thing. So I switched to Quicken a long time ago. And I use Quicken and I do it exactly the way my mom taught me back in 2007, which is
Mm.
I do not have it connected to my bank account because I think back then you couldn't
You have
connect your
it
bank account.
manually?
I manually enter
Oh my
my
god.
expenses in Quicken. And here's
You're
why.
stressing me out.
No, I mean, because I'll take like 5 minutes. I'll do it usually like 4 to 5 times a week on the weekday after I take my kids. Like, it's like a pattern. I take my kids to school. I ride my bike with my little baskets. I take my kids to school. I ride home. Get my coffee. I heat up some coffee. I come and I sit down. I get my laptop. I track my expenses. Like, it is the same thing. And that is where I thrive. And
Mm.
for me, I manually track it because that's always what I've done. And because there's some sort of sense of like reflection that I have when I track my spending manually.
Ooh, you're probably very familiar with
So
what you're spending your money on because you see every transaction.
I see every transaction. See, Beth Ann says I manually enter everything too. And so for me, it's like a reflection piece and it's an accountability piece.
Mm.
I will go overboard on credit cards because I'm not manually tracking anything. I just pay the credit card off. And I'm just like,
Okay.
well, whatever. So when I manually track my spending, there is so much accountability there. And that's what keeps me on track because I love to spend money. Love it. Which is also why I struggle with, using credit cards efficiently, or correctly, I guess you could say. I mean, I've come a long way, I'll tell you that. But like our main credit card, I don't even keep it in my wallet anymore. It's in my husband's wallet. It's under my name. He doesn't have any credit cards under his name yet. I'm waiting for the Chase Sapphire offer to go back up to 100,000 bonus points. But so that's what we do. That's tracking our expenses and knowing our spending. Then my husband and I get paid on the last day of the month, and my husband gets paid like on the 25th, 26th, something like that. So we'll take those two paychecks and we lump them together to start our budget from the 1st until like the 14th, because he's usually paid again on the 15th. So the 1st through the 14th is when we have the most money coming in, because my entire paycheck comes then, and then my husband gets half of his, his pay then as well. So we have most of our bills automatically drafted out. So I don't
so you got some automation.
Yeah, so I don't manually go in and pay. I think there's literally like 1 or 2 bills that doesn't allow us to do auto draft. And it's because I want to pay them on a credit card, and they don't do that auto draft on a credit card. But I want the points. So I will go in and manually pay them, but I still make my little bill payment calendar, because like sometimes Netflix comes out, with the first paycheck, and sometimes not. And I manually write out like on my cute little page, my budget page, I have one just for our family that has all of our things. It has like little asterisk if it's a cash envelope, because I still pull out some cash for cash envelopes. But the thing about it is it's very therapeutic for me. It is not efficient, and it is not the best thing for everyone, but I enjoy it. Like, I enjoy getting there with my little pencil or my favorite pen and sitting down with a glass of wine and my computer, and I enjoy writing out our expenses and having my little calendar and like crossing them off after I enter them into Quicken. That is something that like calms me for some reason. So that's what I do. And so I budget for us from the 1st through the 14th. Then my husband gets paid again. And then from the 15th through the 30th, we have like 3 bills that come out. Like our college fund for our kids comes out. Our 529 comes out then. And like our electricity and like one other bill or 2 other bills. It's very minimal. And then it's just, the variable expenses. So a majority of our stuff comes out at the beginning of the month. And we intentionally moved due dates towards the beginning of the month, because when we first switched to this, a lot of our due dates were at the end of the month, and we didn't have them. Like, if we leave money in our checking account, we'll spend it.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. If we leave money in our checking account, I will spend it. So to do that, right? Like, I could either learn to not deal with that, which I was struggling with doing. So we just asked for our due dates to be moved to the beginning of the month. And those are just ways for like, I don't know, just things that people overlook of like, I know my strengths and I know my weaknesses, and I want to still be successful with money, even though I know I tend to overspend on things. And so what can I do to make sure that I don't do that? So like when we budget, what we will do is because we don't invest the same amount every month. It depends what we have going on and like extra. So we will literally, like, as soon as I know how much we can invest or how much we're going to send savings, I will send it there. Because if it sits in my checking account, I will spend it.
Exactly. I feel the exact same way. As you were talking too, I wanted to ask you, do you feel that doing it manually, the reason why it calms you is because it gives you a sense of control over what's going on, versus if it's automated, it's kind of like free will, just free roaming. And I was thinking too, like, because we all deal with our own financial anxiety in our own ways. Does that help settle you down? The fact that, because you could, obviously you could automate it, but you choose to still do it manually.
Oh yeah, I totally could. And when I hear you talking about it, I'm like, that sounds so cool. And like, how much time would I save? But for me, it's like peace of mind. And like part of that comes, and I mean, we're doing Patreon here, so I'll open up a little bit more. But like part of that comes from like my childhood and my relationship with money, and seeing money as a child has deeply, deeply impacted me. And because of that, I need and I want, like, it's not even that need, it's that I want and I enjoy that extra like security, right? It's like some people need to sleep with a weighted blanket to fall asleep. Some people need to sleep with a sound machine. Some people need to read a book about anxiety to their children. It's like, I need that. And I don't like, I do it and it works and it gives me this peace. And it seems like really silly to other people, but it's just what I need and what I thrive with.
No, I think
So,
that's when we talk about financial stuff, especially like budgeting, which is like the foundation of all your, your finances. It feels like you have to do all these other things, all these,
yeah.
follow all the tips, follow exactly what this person does. But, even you can see like with what you're doing, even though, I would never do that because I am not responsible enough to do that. It works for you because it addresses your specific area that's your concern with finances. Where for me, that's not my concern.
Yeah.
I have my stuff is like, I have other financial concerns that I have are issues that I deal with that help me cope with it. And it's
Yeah.
important to find what works, even if it doesn't feel like, oh, it's, the popular thing that everyone's doing.
Right. And it's not, and I've tried using apps, like I've downloaded YNAB, I've like tested it out, I've done all these things, and I always go back to it. And it's like, I used to think, no, I'm in this budgeting space and I'm in this personal finance space. I have to do something flashy and cool and like a really cool spreadsheet and all of that. And when every single time I do that, I always come back to this method. And it's like, okay, I don't need this to be flashy. I don't need this. Like, it's okay if it takes me time, because I like when I'm sitting there doing Quicken, and as long as I haven't let it build up, manually tracking my expenses, it takes no time at all. And I feel good. I look forward to it. If I do it like 4 days a week, I mean, it's like I do it and you think I'm in this peaceful state. I've just taken my kids to school. They're out of my house. I'm home
Freedom.
alone. I have my coffee, and it's like, it's peaceful for me. So what once in my life was this constant source of stress and anxiety and just this ball of frustration and fear, the fact that that can now be peaceful to me, like that is freaking mind blowing. Like that is like, there's so much hope for people when I think about it like that.
Oh, I like that perspective.
Thanks, Chris. Cheers.
So,
Cheers to financial anxiety.
here's my glass of water. Well, since you're a spender though, so how do you wrap that into your budget then? How do you build that into what you do so where you can still have the room to spend without, blowing everything up?
I mean, I'm given spending money every month, and I am a spender, but I'm usually pretty good about like holding it together. Like I asked Matt the other day, I don't remember what I was preparing for, something. I was preparing for something in my business, and I said, what do I usually spend money on? I said, what do you find that I usually just like impulsively spend on? And he said, you've been really good about that. So I get into cycles of spending. So here's an example. When we moved into this house, I went crazy, Chris. Like, I'm embarrassed at how much money I spent on the credit card. We never carried a balance. I've never carried a balance on a credit card in my life. But we weren't able to send money to savings like we want to, because I was spending too much money on credit card, or we were having to pull out money out of savings to cover, like maybe $50 or something. So not only were we not sending money to savings, but then we're having to kind of pull money out.
Yeah.
And it was just this, it was like this tornado. It was like at once it started, or I don't know, some sort of natural disaster. Once it started, it was like spiraled out of control to the point, Chris, I will never forget. I was sitting there and I was in the bathroom, and we were in our bathroom, and my husband was like in the shower showering, and he was talking to me about something. And all I could think about was how I wanted to go on Amazon and spend money. Like I couldn't even focus on what he was saying, which I mean, that's not out of the norm. But my body was just craving it. Like every part of me wanted to go spend money. Like
yeah.
I've never been like, had like an addiction to like alcohol or anything like that. But it almost felt like something that could be possibly similar. It was like all I could think about. It was on my mind. I could just feel it in my body. And it got to the point where, Matt and I talked about it, and maybe I brought it up, or I said something like, I have a problem. And he was like, I was going to talk about this. Like, you're getting kind of out of hand. And when I was able to fully step back and almost like detox myself, like I gave him the credit card and I said, I have to give this to you. And he didn't take it from me, because then I would have been like, bitch, no, that's mine. Like that would have been disrespectful.
Scroggy mama's children, Allison.
Sorry. She's listening to it. She's watching her phone. But when I gave that to him and I said, I need some accountability. Can you take this? Because it's clearly an issue. He said, how about this? We won't spend money on the credit card, because that was like my vice, right? Unless we agree, like we have to agree on a spending. He said, and I'll do that too, which is a joke because he never uses the credit card. But he was willing to say, I won't do it too. So that way I didn't feel like alone, right?
Yeah.
When I was able to do that and detox myself from it, you want to hear the crazy thing? I realized why I was spending money. I was spending money because we had moved into this new home. My son was struggling with going to a new school. He was having a hard time. And all I wanted to do was make my home feel nice. All I wanted to do was make my home be a home to him. And so the only way I could think about doing it was filling it with stuff to make it look like a nice home. And what I really should have been doing was just spending more time with him. And it wasn't until I was able to kind of like remove myself from that and detox myself from that craving that I realized why I was doing it. And it was just because I wanted him to feel better. So I don't know. It's just like, it's so like in your head more than you think it is for some people. But then like for my husband, it's like, he's just like, whatever, money is money. It's not a big deal. Oh, Beth Ann's giving me a big hug.
But I mean, that's real though, right? Like,
yeah,
so often money gets like, it's like a math thing. It's a number thing. It's so abstract. It's so, I guess, almost inhuman talking about money and how we all deal with it. But like, we use it to cope with so many emotional things all the time. And we're not even aware of it. Like, hearing you talk about that, like, it reminded me too, like, I would, when I'm really stressed and like overwhelmed, my thing would be to spend money, not on things, but on food. Obviously, we talked about money, but it's like, that made me feel better. Like, that made me feel like, look, I was dealing with a bunch of stuff, but at least I had this really good meal and I felt good for a little while I was eating that. And
right. And that's more socially acceptable than turning to drugs or alcohol or porn or anything like that, right? So it's not like bad. But then when you are turning to something like that to deal with your problems, no matter how like not bad it is, it doesn't ever fix the problem.
Exactly.
And you're still left feeling that way. But I could not, it's crazy to me because like, I mean, this was back in 2019. Like, I had a business for 2 years. I had been on this journey for, 9 or 7 years. But it took going through that and then fully pulling myself out of it to even identify it. Because I was so wrapped up in the desire to spend money.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
Anyway, sorry guys. I know that's not what you were just asking for, budgeting, but we went deep here.
No, it's real. That's real. That's how, I mean, because budgeting isn't just budgeting. Budgeting is tied into, everything else. and this is natural for the stuff to come up, like how we all handle and process all this money stuff.
Sure. So, how's my mascara, Chris? Is it good?
I can send you some of mine if you need some extra.
I don't need more. I need to make sure it's not on my face.
No, I think it looks fine. Look at mine.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see it.
This was good. This was deep.
I know. Who thought our suggestion in Discord would lead to this deep of a conversation there?
I know. Thanks, Scroggy Mama.
I know, that was a really great idea.
The one who came up with that.
Oh man. Well,
good.
I hope you all enjoyed that our budgeting conversation. I know Allison gets to talk about budgeting all the time, but I think we have to do it a little bit differently than you normally do it here.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it. Thank you.
This is fun. We're at what, an hour, almost 2 hours. So I think this is a good time for us.
No, this is good.
Yeah.
Scroggy Mama says, I can relate to this so much. Thank you for being so authentic. It's easy to do on Patreon,
Yeah,
it is.
I appreciate the honesty because it's hard. It's hard to be honest, especially when people are looking at you be honest. So I appreciate the vulnerability, Allison.
Yeah. Are you going to apologize to me yet?
Oh no, that was still an amazing burn earlier. That was still. I'm still very proud of that. Nothing that has happened since that point has made me want to take that back.
Okay, well, if you are listening to this live, we are going to be recording again. What, October 20th?
It sounds right. That's 2 weeks ago. Yep, October 20th.
Same time, same place.
Right here on the internet.
8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
5:30 Pacific.
Yeah, and we'll do 2 back-to-back episodes just like we did today.
Exactly. So heads up, you will not see us streaming next week. So we're going from our weekly to a bi-weekly recording
in the
schedule now.
evenings. Yeah. So thanks for joining us, though.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Thanks for. It's always more fun when everyone's here interacting with us. We get to talk in
I agree.
Discord. I feel like we get
I
to know you all
agree.
a little bit better. You get to know us a little bit better. So I enjoy this.
Yeah.
I always like this.
Me too. Beth Ann says the same. Okay, guys. Well, y'all have a good night.
Yeah, you too. We're gonna get out of here. We'll see you
Bye.
later.